Welcome back to the Dare to Dream podcast. This is episode number 24, and we are so excited to be here.
We are excited. Today, we're going to talk about something pretty real. Very real, matter of fact.
The Realist.
The Realist. And that is Memento Mori, which is this concept of being aware of your own death, of mortality, basically. And you brought this up just as a topic idea, and I think it's a great idea because it's something that, me and you have talked about before and we think about often, and just this whole concept of being aware of your own mortality and your own death. And it's something I've been thinking about actually a lot just because of we'll get into it, but I was telling you earlier about I've been thinking as much as I want to travel the world, I want to, base my life around traveling the world and exploring, new cultures and just having new experiences that just constantly having me get out of my comfort zone and, see what life is all about. And I get this thought comes to me quite often. It's what would I do if like a terrorist attack or just a dangerous situation took place out there in the world? And that's I don't know until the situation would arise, but I tell myself and I try to foster the mentality that I would do whatever it takes to be courageous and actually go. I would hope that I'd be the person who would face the fear and go into the storm and do whatever I can to be a light in the world. And I just, it's easier said than done, but I really wonder. And yeah, what would I be able to have the quickness to put my own life on the line to perhaps save other human beings? And so basically that's one way, that's one route we could go down. But this concept of just being aware of our mortality and death and how it causes us to live, in fact.
Yeah, so Memento Mori translates, it's a Latin phrase, and it translates into remember you must die. And this is something that I've used a lot in my own life as a real reality check. So I keep a coin on my desk that has a picture of an hourglass, actually it has a tulip, an hourglass, and a skull. And essentially the message is life, time, and death. And it reminds me every single day I look at it that I'm going to die. We are all going to die. No matter how healthy you are, how successful you are going to die. And what really matters is what you do with this short time that we have. And I think that really ties into the Dare to Dream podcast is you only have one shot at this thing called life.
Mm-hmm.
And we understand that there's a time to be realistic. There's a time to do what you have to do. Maybe you have to settle for a season or a year. Maybe you have to work a job you don't like for a while. We totally get that. I did that for a while. But you literally have one chance at this.
Yeah.
And are you really going to be content with settling and just hating your life over and over again? Or are you going to take small steps? They can be baby steps. Just make one day better than the previous day.
They gotta be baby steps. It's the only place you could, we can't change the world in one day. It's everything, the way to a better life, the path to a life we truly love is waking up to the fact that we're gonna die.
Yeah.
It's okay, every second that I'm alive is a second closer to death. And it's just being aware that we are literally, I always have trouble with that word, degenerating. Every day we are degenerating.
The wheels are coming off.
The wheels are coming off early. And it's we kind of brush this fact under the rug. We don't think about it. Actually, something that just a route that I could take this is this has been a huge mindset shift with me, with my back. I've been dealing with this, been experiencing this back pain for 4 years now, and I'm the biggest thing that I've had to wrap my mind around is I'm 25, and what people always tell me is you shouldn't be going through you're young and you're already having back pain. I'm yeah, I've heard that from everybody. I've heard it from every doctor I go to, and I'm okay, clearly, you know, I have to take control of my own life. Nobody else is going to figure this out for me. I have to do it. And it has, just in the same way as Memento Mori makes, you know, the point of it is to make you grateful and to seize every day. This injury has made me so grateful for just every day that I'm alive. And when I do feel healthy, like I'm blessed that I, you know, besides my back, I feel like I'm in tremendous health. But it's like this thing that's
Tremendous hell or tremendous health?
I am in a deep dark hell. And like, but it's made me realize that, okay, first, like nobody's gonna help me out of this but me. Like nobody can, you know, obviously people want to help and I'm infinitely grateful for that, but nobody's in my shoes. And so I have to figure this out if it means that much to me. This, like, and the biggest kind of driving force of that is like, I'm young and I could either see this as, yeah, I'm young and this shouldn't have happened to me and I could be a victim and get down on myself all the time. But the battle that I fight every day is to flip the script, turn that around, and seize life and use this injury and use the fact that there's only one life and I don't have to suffer through my 20s. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life because of this. And it's going to drive me to figure out, you know, what I need to do to get better and how I can help other people dealing with the same things. And it's just the fact that, you know, just because you're young doesn't mean, I think the point that I was getting at is because you're young doesn't mean we can't forget about the fact that we're going to die someday. And It's easy just to say like, oh, I don't have to worry about that. But this is like my health, having a health issue makes you realize that you have to start thinking about long-term health. And it's made me make so many switches in my life that like I'm literally taking care of my 70-year-old self. Mm-hmm. I don't want to start going through back injury at 25 and then be like, oh, I'm going to be in terrible shape by the time I'm 60. I'd be like, no, I want to look back at this and be like, that's what I overcame when I was 25. And it's only been uphill from then. And then I'm going to be, you know, in stellar shape at 60.
Yeah, you're going to be that guy on the beach that's just made of leather, super ripped, like folding himself into a little ball each morning. Yes. Oiled, just saying hi to everyone.
Oiled. It's going to be me. I can't wait.
Can't wait to see you there. I love that. I love that mentality. And a couple of things I want to say about it is, one, there's no other option. Like, you have this injury. You can't do anything about it. The only option that's going to bring you any semblance of happiness or progress forward is just radically accepting it. Mm-hmm. I think that's why you and I are drawn so much to Jordan Peterson. Own whatever it is you have to own that's going on in your life. Take control of it and slowly start figuring out a way to make it better. Mm-hmm. And like you said, baby steps. You're not going to go out and achieve your dream in one day.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you should just give up and not have a dream. Exactly. And I think I'm so fired up about this because I was talking to someone who was kind of pushing back on my coaching style of using the word dream, and obviously the Dare to Dream podcast. Like, we're big on people chasing their dreams. And they were saying, okay, like, how about the 55-year-old forklift driver that works at the lumber factory? Like, what's his dream? Is it really possible for him to achieve his dream? And I think the answer is yes. Like, there is no alternative. Maybe his dream can be scaled back to something that he can hope for, mm-hmm. and that he can start making steps towards it. But to just say, okay, I wanted to be a professional basketball player or something, and then give up, I think that is a unique circumstance because there's external forces that are deciding whether you get into the NBA or not. Mm-hmm. But to just like give up completely seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
The only option in my mind is slowly figure out, maybe you're not ready for your dream yet, but just figure out a life that's 1% better.
Right.
Like, make next week 1% better. Just do something, like eat healthier, or sleep 30 minutes more, or instead of watching Netflix, like spend 1 hour thinking about your life, and I guarantee that you can find one area to improve in.
Yeah, it's like that's just such a cop-out. Like, just saying that, oh, what's the, you know, 50,
be realistic.
Yeah, that just because you're, you know, older and you've had this career and you're now just a forklift driver, that's just a cop-out. Like, what excuse is that just to give up on living a life that you love? I would say just in that situation, like, use your free time to do something meaningful. Be the best family person that you could be. Your dream is to be the best father you could be. You know, raise your family and give them great morals and give them something to strive towards. Or be the best forklift driver you could possibly be. That's the thing. It's like our job doesn't have to define us. That person can live a life of going for their dream of he's the best forklift driver that company has ever seen, and on the side he's an artist who's doing what he loves and just painting and, you know, bring people joy. Like, just saying that, you know, that just because that person is now over the hill or whatever is an absolute cop out. And yeah,
that's what I love about Japan and Japanese culture is no matter what you are doing in Japan, if you're really good at it, it's super honorable. So, I mean, we saw this. Like, if you run a tiny little restaurant, but you're the best restaurant owner and you interact with all the guests and your restaurant's clean, the food is great. Like, and this is obviously my foreigner perspective, not truly understanding the culture, but from what we've read is that is equally as admirable as if you are way up in a corporation making millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily your position, but it's based on how much of a master you are at your craft.
Yeah, it's bringing just passion and joy to every aspect of your life. And I think Japanese culture, it's more just like honor and respect to everything that you're doing. But I think it's like we have to have the mentality of like everything you're doing, life is going to throw things in front of you. Life is like, I was thinking about, you know, are we in control of anything really? Or are we just reacting? Like, I don't think all we can control is how we react to situations. We can't control what's happening to us. We can control like what output we're giving, how we react, what situations we put ourselves in. But there's clearly going to be things that are out of our control in life. And the Memento Mori comes back to, you have, like, this moment has never happened before. It will never happen again. Now it's already gone. Use it to the best that could possibly be used and find joy, find peace, do whatever it takes to find happiness and, you know, bring yourself into every moment.
There's so many good quotes around Memento Mori that I frequently review just to remind myself. Ryan Holiday has one, live your life as if you have died and come back, and all of this is extra. When you think about tomorrow as not guaranteed, but a gift, a bonus round, it completely changes it. Or the other night I was on a call pretty late and I was kind of finding myself just being like, dang, I'm on a call, it's late, I don't want to be here. And then I thought to myself, like, what if this were literally the last call of my life? And this was the last time I got to see the person I'm talking to who I love. And all of a sudden, like, everything fell away and I was so present and I was so connected to the moment. And when you really use death as the ultimate perspective shifter, it completely changes everything. It is such a good reminder. And I don't think you're never too young to think about your death, as morbid as that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
For me, instead of making me sad, it fires me up and makes me grateful that I'm alive.
Honestly, man, it's like such a reminder that like every moment is just so precious. And in the podcast On Purpose, Jay Shetty, he had Will Smith on, and he was talking about how when his dad was dying, he was told that his dad had like 6 weeks to live. And so every time he went and saw him, they both treated each other like it was the last time they're going to see each other. And nothing was left unsaid. They talked about everything, their whole past, the type of people they are. They just completely broke their relationship down. And then when they said goodbye, it was it. That was the last goodbye. They put everything they had into it. And the next time they saw each other, it was the same thing. They just brought that same love and just passion to every time they saw each other. For 6 weeks, they acted like it was going to be imagine it's going to be the last time you talk to your dad. Like, and what would you really tell him? How would you say goodbye? What would you say? And then his dad lived 4 more months. And it was like they thought it was only going to be 6 weeks. And it was a gift. Just life was a gift. And he was just saying that's how we need to treat every single conversation with a stranger. Act like it could be the last thing that person ever hears or the last thing you ever hear. And it's definitely harder said than done. Like I was just, I think it was after, so I was at Memorial over the weekend that I want to talk about. And I think it was after, and I was just having I was doing some work at my house, and my mom was leaving, and we said goodbye. But even though I was thinking about this stuff, I still didn't enact it.
Yeah.
I felt kind of bad because then I left and came back down to San Diego, and it wasn't like I brushed her off, but I didn't go above and beyond.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I was even thinking about that, and I still didn't do it. It's like, what was really holding me back, and how can I just get myself to overcome that and truly treat every situation like it is a freaking gift, because it is just truly. And I've been just fired up the last couple of days, just been going on walks just without my phone. And it's such a game changer. Today I went on a really long one, and I think we're going to save this topic for next week, but it was just listening to the birds, and stopped and talked to a neighbor. And I was I went out and I was like, I'm just do a quick lap. I need to come back and get some stuff done. And went out, and then I was passing this house, a couple houses down. I was like, hey. I'm like, what? So I stop, come back down, and this neighbor comes out. He's like, hey, how's it going? Just super kick back, low key.
And looking for anyone to talk to.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, you look like my cousin. You really do. I was like, my nephew's coming to town this weekend. You look exactly like him. He took my picture. He's like, I have to show the family. He was just so excited. And I was just thinking, first of all, just there's nowhere else I have to be right now. I came out here thinking I'm just gonna do a quick lap and get back to work. But I'm treat this conversation. I actually thought about treat this conversation like it could be the last. This guy, I don't know how bad he needs it. Who knows how bad I need it? And I probably do need it pretty bad. Just conversation with this guy, and then his father-in-law came out, who I see walking all the time, and just this, he's an old man with a walker and super nice guy. He started laughing, and it was just this beautiful moment. I'm like, wow. That was great. I just left that feeling great, and then when it was long, I'm like, all right, I'm going on an extra long walk, no phone, and it was terrific. Just felt so good. So basically, long story short, it's treat every moment like it could be the last.
I really want to go back to the Will Smith story for a second. That really, really hit me heavy, and it reminded me of, there's a movie maybe 5 or 6 years ago called About Time. And the premise of the movie is that all of the men in this family can time travel. And the main character, he's probably in his early 40s, late 30s, and him and his dad have a great relationship. And one of the days his dad shows up and they're playing ping pong. And his dad looks at him and so he can tell something is up. And his dad goes, this is it. This is the last time you're going to see me. Because they can time travel, but he knows when he's going to die. And something about that, just seeing them play ping pong and then having your dad be like, this is the last time you're going to see me, it really got to me. And I remember, I think I was in high school, I just broke down crying. I was full on bawling, and I had to go to the bathroom and then come back. And just what you're saying there is really interesting about, I feel the same way with my parents. When I'm not with them, I think about them so much, and I want to tell them how much I love them and spend time with them. But then sometimes when I'm with them, it's just stressful. They're telling me how to do laundry for the 310th time.
You gotta put in the deodorant.
It's just being around family.
Totally.
There's friction always. And if you guys are listening, I just really want to say how much I love you and I appreciate you. And I love this idea of just telling people how much you love them and treating every moment like it's the last. So this is our last podcast. I love you, man.
Love you, buddy. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. We're going out with 24 episodes. We had a good run. I love that, buddy. And honestly, like, yeah, this episode kind of came out of nowhere, but I think we both needed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Will Smith thing, like, got to me too. And I think about that a lot. Like, my dad has honestly just been beyond the greatest role model I could ever have because he embodies somebody who cares about health.
Yeah.
And to me, that just says I care about my time on this planet. I want to do whatever it takes to live as long as I can and to be around for my kids. And that is like, your actions speak louder than words. And he's waned off. You know, he's social drinker, always has been, has a great time with it. But in the last, been dialing, like, seriously dialing back, like cutting it out completely in the last like few months. So if you're listening, Dad, I'm so proud of you, and like I know that you care about your health and makes me care about my health more than anything. And it's never too early to think about the death, you know? This day could be our last, truly. What are we going to do with the moment that we have? What are we going to do with the time that we have? And, you know, obviously, I'm not trying to say, like, you have to cut out drinking or, like, live like an ascetic or enjoy life. Life is meant to be enjoyed. The point is to enjoy every moment that you're in, to love the moment that you're in, and to see every moment as a gift. And so I have this dive into this. If you're watching, this is my Memento Mori. So what it is, it's a skeleton with a crossbow and it's a frame. And so I actually have, it's a recreation of I'm reading this, of a beautiful anonymous German engraving from 1635 that features a standing, smiling skeleton aiming a crossbow. And an hourglass rests by his back foot. A broken arrow sits beside it, and there's another one in the quiver. It's a piece of art designed to hang at eye level so that the arrow, the one locked and loaded in the crossbow, is pointed directly at the viewer. In French, the inscription reads, I'm going to butcher this in French, Ma flèche assure toi ne espaniera personne, vous danserez tres ces ballets que j'ai sonné. That means, my arrow, I promise you, spares no one. You will all dance to the ballet of which I sing. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think it's just a cool piece of art, but it's always looking at me, and I always look at it and I smile back because the skeleton he's got a grin on his face, and it means, you know, we could do anything we want in this life, and you could rise to the top of the world and be, you know, have all the money in the world, all the fame, all the power, but we're all gonna dance to the ballet, which the skeleton sings, and yeah, we all are gonna be just dust in the wind someday. Use what time we have.
Absolutely. Death is the ultimate reframe. Marcus Aurelius says, think of yourself as dead. You've lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly.
Yes, that's great. Marcus Aurelius is the OG of Memento Mori, and that's why I love studying history. It's like people have always gone through these experiences, and people have endured the most unbelievable things you could possibly imagine. Like, just that's why I love. I mean, yeah, I do. I guess I love it. But just reading like books like Night, Elie Wiesel, such a good book. Or like The Diary of Anne Frank. Just like learning about what people have gone through. These two books just about World War II and concentration camps, and it's like what people have gone through and endured and still found the light. It's just absolutely beyond me. Like, Anne Frank writes about just how the skies, she looks outside her window, just caged in an attic for years, and the sky is just the most beautiful thing she's ever seen. Just she looks at the same sky and the same tree every single day, and that's all the beauty she has in the world. And she has writing, and that, like, imagine what life could be and how good we have it. You know, even it's easier for me to say, like, life is so good, but all you gotta do is be grateful for what you do have.
Really, that's it. Be grateful for what you have and use death as the ultimate motivator.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah, I love this quote. This is from The Pilgrimage by Paulo Coelho, and I just want to bring this up. He says, "Human beings are the only ones in nature who are aware that they will die. For that reason, and only for that reason, I have a profound respect for the human race, and I believe that its future is going to be much better than its present. Even knowing that their days are numbered and that everything will end when they least expect it, people make of their lives a battle that is worthy of being with eternal life. What people regard as vanity, leading great works, having children, acting in a way as to prevent one's name from being forgotten, I regard as the highest expression of human dignity. Still, being fragile creatures, humans always try to hide from themselves the certainty that they will die. They do not see that it is death itself that motivates them to do the best things in their lives. They are afraid to step into the dark, afraid of the unknown. Their only way of conquering that fear is to ignore the fact that their days are numbered. They do not see that with an awareness of death, they would be able to be even more daring, to go much further in their daily conquests, because then they would have nothing to lose, for death is inevitable." Yeah, that one's really powerful for me, just because that kind of relates back to what I was saying in the beginning, just like my longing to go and experience in the world. And that's just what Jordan Peterson is this is one of his essential lessons is we can't hide from death, hide from danger. We have to face it and embrace it. That's the only way we're gonna, create a life that's worth living, is to fully confront our fears, first of all, internally and externally. And that's where the answers truly lie. That's a life well lived.
That's perfect. I think that's where we're going to end it. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. We're really grateful. We hope you enjoyed this real episode where we went deep, talked about what was important to us, what was on our mind.
Absolutely. Love you all. Grateful for every day we get to do this. It is a blessing to be here, and it's unimaginable, but we're doing it and loving every step of the journey.